I've always been confused by how divided the bosses have been. Grineer bosses are the better ones hands down, because they typically have something that makes them unusual, till Rhaegar will taunt and charge at you repeatedly, and as you whittle down his health, he forces you to fight on higher ground to avoid the water. General Sargeras trudges his way to you, spitting flames that you have to stay away from until his weak spot becomes visible. The Corpus are my favorite faction in the game, but even I have to agree that Grineer typically have the best assassination targets in the game. The Corpus's bosses just feel so unimportant. When you're about to go toe-to-toe against a Grineer boss, the Lotus herself tells you that eliminating them will have some impact, whether it be slowing down research or creating power struggles within their respective faction. For the Corpus, it just doesn't feel the same. The only Corpus bosses who truly feel significant are Rahetalius, who as we all know used to be a pretty important Corpus figure and was generally pissing off everyone, Grineer included, and the Sergeant, who is in charge of Corpus solar rails. Technically speaking, the Sergeant is a somewhat important figure because of his position, but his appearance just doesn't match his status. Besides Rahetalius and the Sergeant, Corpus bosses are composed of prototype robots, which just don't seem to be a true boss. If the Corpus really are the big technological and economic power they are, they'd have the common sense to have the blueprints for their prototypes safely stored somewhere, in case something were to happen to the built prototypes. It wouldn't make sense to build a one-of-a-kind robot but not have plans on how to build it as a backup, especially for an organization of the Corpus's size. If the Corpus do have backup blueprints of their prototype robots, then what would be the point of destroying the prototypes in the first place? The Corpus could easily just build another one, defeating the point of destroying them in the first place. Wouldn't it make sense to, let's say, go on a spy mission to steal or destroy the blueprints and then destroy the prototype? If you only destroy the prototype and nothing else, the only impact the Corpus will feel is the cost required to replace it. I personally feel it would be more useful to steal the blueprints so the Tenno can use them against their enemies, kind of like when you use Clem clones. It also doesn't help that the Corpus's prototypes generally aren't that big of a challenge, usually just going down in not even 3 minutes of combat. Sometimes it's just find the boss, shoot, extract. Nothing else. I will agree that bosses are difficult if you're a new player or a player without endgame weapons, but outside of those categories, Corpus bosses just feel irrelevant, for the most part. Who cares if the Corpus built a prototype who can pull and kick enemies? Why don't we just murder the person or people responsible for the prototype's creation in addition to the creation and be done with it? Instead of taking down a robot boss as powerful as Ambulaz, I want to slaughter everyone associated with creating Ambulaz as well as destroying Ambulaz and his design plans so he can never be made again. As ugly and annoying as the Grineer are, I at least have the satisfaction that the Grineer lost a great fighter that can't be replaced by mere metal and credits when I murder Lieutenant Lech Grill. Instead of going after so-called important Corpus prototypes, why don't we go after a Mo-producing facility and destroy it in addition to killing the guy in charge of it in order to have some effect against the Corpus? I'm sure that there's a development-related reason to the boring Corpus bosses, but for now, most of the Corpus bosses don't feel like they contribute anything to the Corpus. The least that can be done is make Nefenio a boss so I can give unto him a few rounds from my bursten like he wants us to give unto the Void. Thank you for watching.